What's the definition of a snitch?
In this case, the definition: who rats out people that they were tight with, rats them out to law enforcement.
What's loyalty to you, Charles?
Loyalty would be that you don't snitch on the people closest on your friends.
If another TMZ staff member kidnaps you, is that loyal to you?
The narrative they want to push to encourage people to snitch. Like, hey, if you snitch, you get off. That's all they showing. Everybody knows snitching equals a get out of jail free card.
I don't sit up and play games, man. That man told you should have went in there and kept your mouth closed.
Oh. Dun, 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 dun. That is not the Recess song, is it? I wanted to make a Randall reference, but copyright and other stuff meant I couldn't really. And if you're not from the 90s, I don't know if you even get that. So it's kind of mad, but without further ado, we're going to discuss snitching. What is snitching culture? How did we get to it? Or no snitching culture, I should say. How did we get to that? What is its origins? Does it make sense? Does it even work? Who does it actually benefit? And who does it actually harm? Is it a normal trope of secret societies? Am I calling gangs secret societies? Yes, they are. They're cults. The inner workings are often secretive. Not that much anymore because people like to self-snitch on raps, I should say. But without further ado, let's explore this and see the dynamics and put into the comments what you think. If you disagree with me, just put it into the comments. I'm going to read most of it. So let's explore. Quick piece of admin, guys. I'm going to need you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. In order for the channel to grow, it's going to need your support. It's going to need you to subscribe. It's going to need you to like. It's going to need you to comment. Again, comment what you like. Some people just comment trolly stuff. Sometimes I get no comments. But just put something into the comments, what you enjoyed, what you disagreed with, and what you'd like to see covered next. That's even more important sometimes. It helps me out. And genuinely, if there's good suggestions, I will cover it. I promise. Without further ado, though, let's actually talk about snitches.
Hey, I'm here to, I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing. Right. Cheers.
Granddad really didn't know anything about the break-ins, but his unwillingness to talk with the police is a common trait with black people. It's no secret that black people are culturally inclined against snitching.
Hey, I ain't seen nothing.
Hell no!
Man, fuck your mom.
See, to me, when you're talking about snitching, no snitching culture, you have to look at it from a background of not only migrant communities, but communities that have felt deprived, that have felt let down by governments, by the society that they're in. The reason you go down the route of no snitching is because you have such an inherent distrust of what happened or what will happen if you go down the law enforcement route, is that you now go to a self-policing, self-governance, or what some people will refer to as vigilante justice. And a lot of this is not only in migrant communities, in the example of like the mafia, Italian mafias, but also Irish mobs as well, is birthed from gang culture. Before it was even called no snitching, it was called no telling.
And I was with him a couple of days before that where I told him the dude you with is a snitch. Well, at that time we didn't have the word snitch, it was telling. I say, man, I think this boy telling.
No telling is birthed from the mafia code, Omorata, which is essentially translated, which I believe to, sorry if there's anyone Italian out here and I'm butchering it, but it essentially means code of silence, Omorata. No snitching, no telling. Gang culture developed in the 70s, and it was very different in the 70s to what we understand it to be even today, or even what it was in the 90s.
Okay, so what year did you officially join the Crips?
The day they started, on the west side.
And that day was?
They've been around since about 71.
71. Okay. And what was that crew actually called during that time?
Well, they've always had gangbanging, so you'll get a full grasp of what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Like on the east side, before there were Crips, you had Slausons, South Park, Manchester Park Boys, Cafe Boys, Smacks. These all evolved into being up under one umbrella, Crips. So on the west side, I wasn't with no gangs. I mean, as far as no cliques. I was a clique in my crew. So we end up being H-Ray gangsters. But coming up, you had Cafe Boys, you had Smacks, but I worked with both of them. We applied our trade where we was like freelancing.
The reason I bring that up is to show that this development and how we look at gangs is completely different to what it was. It was, first of all, the level of violence wasn't what it was. Second of all, it was very much within its own space. It was gangs versus gangs. Even how Crips developed are from just pockets of gang, what people call gang banging back then. And it was fisticuffs. It was fighting.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that because that's actually what gangbanging was about. See, all these other images, being a drug dealer and saying, oh, I'm a Crip, or this and that. Gangbanging is when you're active and you're really going at somebody. Or you protecting yourself, all the other things. So that in that mindset, I can see that happening. I've done it before.
Shooting at people.
Or protecting myself after getting shot at.
Okay.
But the difference is, my era, we kept it within the rules and the guidelines to those that signed up to play this game.
And yes, it's important to say that this as well, that there was links with the Black Panther movement. It was a sort of anti-establishment movement. Yes, a more criminal version of that. The Black Panthers, although they were criminalized, that was under J. Edgar Hoover, that was his direct demand because he didn't like black people because he had self-hatred towards blacks, and there were some blacks being aggressive. He didn't do that with the mafia though. So, what does that tell you?
The Black Panthers are recruiting criminals and hoodlums and encouraging them to engage in a broad range of terrorist activities. They are the greatest threat to the internal security of this country. We want to make it clear to black youth that if they want to be revolutionaries, they will be dead revolutionaries.
Gangs involvement, Crips involvement in anti-government movements, pro-black movements, protecting the Black Panthers doesn't just stop there. It doesn't just extend itself there. It's also with Black Wall Street in Tulsa, where they were protected, their security, and a part of Black Wall Street in Tulsa was Bloods.
Why are you saying that? You don't even know. You just heard of it for the first time.
Is Black Wall Street Bloods?
I don't know what that is. I shall not familiarize
myself.
You
don't know what Black Wall Street is?
I remember it, but I don't know exactly what it was or wasn't.
Who was the fourth ran the fourth on the Black Wall Street? The game, right?
I mean, yeah, you tell me. Tell me all about it.
The game, right?
Yeah, well, I remember the name.
So were they Bloods?
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
There was a bunch of Crips over there too.
Okay.
Some of this is just a rumor, but I do believe there's truth in the rumor. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's important to understand that although those gangs were not good, and I don't want to glamorize it, it had its links to anti-establishment, anti-government movements, sort of protection of its communities, hence why its codes were so strong. No civilians, no kids, neutral zones. But with black leaders leaving, what I should say, with black leaders being targeted by J. Edgar Hoover, them being put in jail or killed.
They ran them down, they chased them down, they hunted them down, they murdered everybody that they could and made everybody else either go to exile or they locked them up in the penitentiary. And when all that was over with, a new element rose up called the Crips.
It led to there was a lack of black role models. And the only ones that were left were the gangbangers, and they had a status.
You said you started to feel like a rock star being in this gang.
No, I didn't feel like no rock star. I say that was the image. I ain't never felt like it was glorified. It just was business.
Okay.
This is what's going on, and this is what we represent, and this is what we're getting down with. So as far as in the inner city, it was the equivalent of being Jay-Z or something else, or anybody else, Tupac, Biggie, anybody. It was a fad. It was very, it was a thing. It was the culture.
They had a status, they had a bravado, they had a social clout that wasn't afforded to them by society and contemporary society. It's similar to the mafiosos as well in the Italian mobs, where they speak about what a made man was.
The whole world seems that your whole power structure changes. Now you're a made member in the mafia. Everybody in every family is your brother, not just your own family by Cosa Nostra's laws. So you become a fucking powerhouse. Just the mere fact that you're a made guy. People know you're gonna get in a fight, you hit a made guy, you're gonna get killed. There'll be fucking 40 guys who look to kill you. So it's the power structure, people who know about it, it becomes huge. And then it opens up business things and unions like he's been teaching me. I already had a plumbing company, I was opening up a drywall company. Now, unions, I was getting stronger with unions. Not only for myself, but for Joe Blow. Let's say you ran a union and you're another made guy. I would tell you, bro, I need some help in this area. Yeah, Sammy, I'll take care of it. What do you want me to do? Your power is growing by the fucking day, by the minute. And people not being told, but seeing that. Seeing very powerful guys now coming over to you, grabbing you with both hands, kissing you on the cheek. Wow, they never did that to Sammy. What is this, something new? No, you want to know? I'll bet you they made this guy.
Sorry if there's any noise in the background. I'm going to do my best to edit it out, but there's some drilling going on. I don't know why, but there's always something going on in London. It is what it is. But like I said, that mob status, that made man status, you couldn't even enter the mob as a black person. So you couldn't get it that way. So they created their own. Every community that's been undercut and kept down will do that. They will create their own society. And that society, it was a secret. It wasn't prevalent to the government and mainstream. But like I said, as the 80s came about, things changed and they got corrupted.
Yo, is that what I think it is? What's wrong? You ain't never seen no yayo, nigga? Yes. I'm just trying to figure out what this is. That's real cocaine, nigga. Where'd you get it? Nigga, don't worry about where I got it. We gonna cook it up, slang it on them streets, and get paid, nigga. How do we do that? I mean, how hard can it be? I think there's some rap songs that tell you how to do it, right? You gotta have a taster. Pull the water from the oil, get a turkey baster. Also, that baking soda will help you stretch that. Okay, you said something about baking soda. Hey, man, this shit don't actually tell you how to make it, though. Oh, what the hell? Let's check Wikipedia. Customers all night. Just make sure it got a little complexion. Better for the great, find me serving in the smoking section. I'll show you how to cook that, show you how to bake crack, show you how to hit that block to make track.
It's easy for me to make a point here where I say essentially what corrupted it and where the idea of even snitching became almost normalized was capitalism. But it's not just that, it's the excess, it's the greed of what capitalism does, the finances. When you have so much money, people lose control of their inhibitions, they lose control of their morals, and the decaying of their societies, their communities, their neighborhoods. What their idea was and what gangs were supposed to represent was inner conflict between each other. Not represent, but what they were supposed to be were inner conflict between each other, and it expanded and got worse because of the money and crack. Crack destroyed neighborhoods in the 80s.
All you dope dealer niggas who all famous for selling dope, y'all really shouldn't be famous because y'all fucked up the community. Let's be real. You got your money. You made some niggas money. But if we talking about it at the age we are now, looking back, I'm not broke. The name I had from gang banging and doing something to a nigga behind the color, I don't want none of that fame. Because I done did shit to niggas I didn't even know just because he was the one walking down the street. So when you say you made your name came from fucking up the community. And it was what it was. Some niggas made money. But it's also some crack babies came from that. It's a lot of homes that was torn.
And not only did it destroy neighborhoods, it destroyed families. That family unit system that we understand and we long for was, you don't want to put it all on crack and the drug dealers and saying they did it, because there should be accountability full circle. I always have a problem when people just try to put accountability in one group of people. That's not what I understand accountability to be. But you have to look at it like this, where that perhaps if we didn't participate so much in the active poisoning of our own community through drugs, through gangs, it wouldn't have been like this. Many people have tried to reform and change their ways and rehabilitate the communities they helped destroy, but the truth is it did destroy communities. But what's important to say is where there's excess, where there's greed, where there's addiction to money and drugs, people lose their morals, right? Like I said earlier, that's when telling became more of a thing.
Ironically, despite the hip-hop community being the driving force behind the Stop Snitching movement, rappers tend to snitch on themselves a lot. In 2000, rapper Gangstalicious reportedly assaulted record executive Johnny Guinness with a tennis racket and a bottle of Hennessy on the set of a music video. Guinness refused to cooperate with authorities, but the next day, Gangstalicious made an appearance on MTV's TRF.
Hold on. Drop the beat. Gangstalicious, my mind's too vicious. EMC's all day, delicious. My whole crew up in this, no doubt we gonna win this. Smack up your moms like I smacked Johnny Guinness. 3 o'clock yesterday, I don't care what they say. Suckers really shouldn't play, I hit them with the Hennessy.
It happened with the mafia, it's happened in the gangs that we understand, the Bloods and the Crips, and it's important to say this, if I didn't make it clear earlier, is that Crips were the first gang in LA to form, and they were formed out of just random pockets, as you can see from some of the clips. But what also happened was, in response to that Bloods formed, what the fragments of that and the morals and the money coming in, it was lost, and snitching became a thing. Some people have accused Freeway Rick Ross of snitching. I don't think he has, and a lot of the reports show that what he did was tell on the bent coppers, bent police officers who failed them during those times.
And you know day one, Freeway Rick is snitch. Hey, listen, bro, all he did was gave up the dirty police who crossed him. That ain't telling. As far as I'm concerned, I always took that stance.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
We ain't talking about that. We talking about he gave up the connect.
The connect told on me. What the fuck they talking about? They don't read. You got people, you listening to people who don't read and don't know nothing about the law.
Okay.
My connection set me up.
And it was very similar with what happened with the mafia bosses as well. But theirs was more systematic. Theirs was more to do with the RICO law as well. Although RICO laws have been applied now with black gangs and Wall Street as well. So it's expanded, but it was initially created for mafia bosses. One point I would say is, I didn't pick my notes, but one point I would say is, people may hear, you know what, it's good that they told. It's important that they told because they're helping rehabilitate their communities, they're helping taking the poison out of their communities. But a lot of the people that were telling, Sammy the Bull from the Mafia, he was part of John Gotti's crew.
Judge Gleason's remarks. And he said some of those people would have came out, they would have been doing murders for all these years. So in essence, what he said and did may have saved hundreds of murders. Now, I don't want credit for doing shit like that. I don't believe in it. But you could say whatever you want.
Or family, I should say. And other people in black spaces, in black communities who told and snitched as well, who were, in the mafia they say cooperating. They were telling on police officers as well. They were telling on bent coppers as well. So I pose this question to you guys. Despite them telling on their own secret society, telling on their own gang, they were also telling on the police. So who is this really helping? Because those communities are still impoverished, specifically black communities. But migrant communities still suffer. Italians as a community have always been all right, to be fair.
I mean, would you consider yourself a serial killer? 19 people that you admitted to killing?
Huh?
Well, you've admitted to killing 19 people. You don't consider yourself a serial killer?
No, of course not.
Mass murderer?
What?
Mass murderer?
I don't like the sound of that, but I mean, you can call me that, call me whatever you want. I'm fighting for Cosa Nostra. I never killed a woman, a kid, an innocent person. I kill people in the mafia.
Other soldiers.
So what do we do? Yeah, other soldiers. What do we do to soldiers now? Should we sit them down when they come home from these wars and tell the guy, you killed 20 people, 200 people, he's using bombs and everything. Are you a serial killer? Should we ask him questions like that? I don't think they're serial killers. They're fighting for their country. Yeah. Most of them are young, and stupid, and they're bullshitted by our government that these guys are the enemies. When I was there, I was going to fight in Vietnam. That's when I was in the military. Go kill them. They're going to come in here. They're going to rape your mother and your sisters. And I was geared. If I would have went to Vietnam, I would have killed them. Now, I've been in jail 22 years. I've never seen a Vietnamese person in prison. So they're either very good crooks or they're not bad people. And the only Vietnamese people I've ever known, and I'm not a kid, I'm 77, is women who do your nails and your toenails. And they're very polite. So the government, I think, was bullshitting me all the while. You know, they'll tell you things about Italians. They'll tell you things about black. They'll tell you things. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Who did this really benefit? Who did it really benefit when the wide lands? When you're looking at wider change, where did it come from? Did it even happen? This is where I think, and I've seen, that the definition of a snitch drastically changes. Not just in the sense that before, a snitch was someone who was telling on their secret society. Street business is handled in the street. Now we have an extended definition. You have examples of 6ix9ine.
What's the definition of a snitch?
In this case, the definition, who rats out people that they were tight with, rats them out to law enforcement.
What's loyalty to you, Charles?
Loyalty would be that you don't snitch on the people closest to your friends.
If another TMZ staff member kidnaps you, is that loyal to you? You're working right now. If Harvey's stealing all of the money that you're making right now and gives you crumbs of it, but is taking majority of the money, is that loyal to you? These are my people. Like, how many people I beefed with in 2018? I beefed with the whole West Coast. I beefed with the Houston. I beefed with Chicago. Did I ever get kidnapped by Chicago or Texas or West Coast? Did I ever get kidnapped by them, or I got kidnapped by my own people? What I did, it wasn't snitching. What I did was being smart and realized that God put me there to cut my grass so I could see the snakes in my grass.
Yeah, I get what people are thinking. That's snitching. But I ask you, why wouldn't he snitch? Because the people that were supposed to protect him were the people trying to kidnap him, was a part of the people that slept with his baby mom. They had a toxic relationship. I'm not here to defend that.
She's like, what do you want to see my phone? Let me see your phone. I said, here, have my phone. Where's your phone? She gives me her phone. I go to the messages. Why every message is there but the flirting messages? So she's individually deleting them and leaving like the where's Danny to make it seem like it's just natural conversation. I said, I punched her in her mouth. Boom, hit her. Said, get all your shit, get the fuck out.
You know that's hard for me to hear.
I know that. But I gotta be truth. If I lie to you, I'm not being real with you. You know what I'm saying? I have to tell you this because you have to.
Sammy 6ix9ine Jr.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did you give the statements?
To it. I'm getting to it. It's all added up shit. Right? All right, so you want the simple thing? I was already kidnapped by my own crew. There was no loyalty there, right? Wack, you give me the nigga, right? That a nigga could do you wrong, right? And this street nigga stupid mentality. A nigga could do you wrong and you be like, you know what? That's still my homie. This is how the streets go.
Let me tell you what ain't gangster.
That's not gangster.
Now, hold on, let me.
They were robbing him as well. So I ask again, who are we defending? This is where the corruption happens. This is where it's kind of like the eroding further happens. So this thing that was a code of self-governance, self-policing, a secret society that's kept within a group has been corrupted in the 80s. They've been given plea deals. But the reason those plea deals worked is because they were discovering and finding out that they were being told on themselves. So what is snitching? Who am I protecting? Why am I protecting people who are trying to get me killed? This might attract an American audience. So the reference I might make might not make sense. I'm from South London. I'm from the same area as this guy. So it's a bit techie to bring up, but I'm doing it. Bouncer, who spoke on their lack of, he didn't speak on their lack of accountability, but he spoke on content creators talking about things that happen in the streets and how to cover. He's been accused of being a snitch. He's been accused. But if you look into the story and see the story, you realize this is where the definition has not only been extended, but manipulated just to tear people down.
Bro, yeah? So what's happened now, yeah, is they have been nipped, yeah, and they have been charged, yeah? They have a codee. Their codee has turned QE on them.
Oh,
yeah?
This is where people are not getting.
Yes, bro.
Let's talk about
their
it.
Codee, their codee has turned QE on them, bro, yeah? They has ended up getting found guilty and ended up getting murdered. They've gone on like Bouncer. What Bouncer said sent them Joe. Bro, I was not there when anyone got killed, bro. There was nothing there. So whatever, bro, I put my hands up. Man should not be speaking to
what you basically just saying is such and such got into a madness. That's what you knew about.
I'm with him. Bruv, such and such got into a madness. Man's in school, yeah. Man's young, yeah. Man's pressured the youth phoning man. They're trolling man. Man's trolling them. Bro, they've run to the police. The police come to man. I've said the conversation, what they said to me on the phone. That's one thing that I put my hands up. I should have never said to the police. If man wants to call me a snitch on that I sent man to jail, bro, I wasn't there. So how can I send a man to jail?
Man needs to stop saying that. You know why man needs to stop saying that? He didn't say, yo, Donnie done that. He just said, yo, such and such had a madness.
They had a
was
fight.
calling out his name.
Yeah, they had a fight.
They was calling out his name, so he's thinking
they went to the feds on him.
On him.
Okay, bro. But wait,
let's get that right.
Wait.
Session right now.
Let's just get it right.
You know the real shit.
I'm not gonna lie. I've heard two sides of the story. I'm taking this in right now.
But check this. It's online.
This is where it gets interesting for me. Because the same code that we use as self-governance and protection, if you don't fit into that code, people will tear you down and try to denigrate your character. There's so much discussions about hypermasculinity, the black community being toxic, black men being toxic, but yet we still perpetuate these narratives that are toxic. That's number one. Number two, what Bouncer did, I do not care, but what I understand the code of silence to be, that's not snitching. The man went to the police and said, God bless him, he's passed away, God bless the dead, God bless his family. But he went to the police and said, listen, I'm in fear for my life. Bouncer said something that, yes, street code, you shouldn't say it, but that's not snitching. He didn't take the stand either. But because of narratives, because now this code is no longer a secret, it's no longer part of a secret society. People are using it to tear other black people down. The Gunner situation is another one.
Man, play games, man. That man told you should have went in there and kept your mouth closed.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I was. I thought you were trying to reverse it. I'm like,
hell no.
I'm like,
I just said I never.
It almost scares you. I'm like, yo, how do you?
Huh?
I'm like, I'm never gonna like.
Hell no. I never like. I'm following. I don't know. I never like. Why I didn't. I don't know. I just don't take that shit, Instagram and all that shit type shit serious. But if you a rat, you a rat. And if you rewind this clip a little bit, I looked into the camera and I told you, if you a rat, I fucking hate you. Cause I love Thug.
Little Dirk is another one where people are saying, you know, he's a murderer. He's a murderer. Little Dirk, who was, I put a little article here. He's been accused of murder for hire. The reason they've been able to access this information is because they had a paid informant in his crew. That is snitching, straight up. But people are kind of praising that he's going down. But then at the same time, you got people that will tear down 6ix9ine and call him a snitch, but not realizing that Dirk was snitched on. You start to realize that this is a narrative that not only is to keep the black community down, keep black men down, because they can't receive help from law enforcement, but if you do fall into line, you don't get help from people in the community saying, oh, you did the right thing, you're trying to purify society, you're trying to change things. You get no assistance either way, and that is the typical story of not just black men, but black people in society. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
One problem black people have with snitching is that the police don't necessarily protect those that come forward. Take the case of Bernard Jefferson, who helped the police shut down a local crack house.
Hey, you did the right thing.
So, do you think I might need some protection or something?
Yeah, that's more the feds thing. You'll be fine. You see anything weird, you just give us a call, all right, buddy? Okay.
Hey, Bernard,
You snitch ass motherfucker! Shut the fuck up!
Bernard lived, but when he refused to identify the man who shot him, he was charged with conspiracy and sentenced to a month in jail.
And this talks about the life of a snitch. You know, the life of a snitch is not a good one. It's not one to enjoy. Like I said, as a black man, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You're denigrated by one part of society, you're cussed out and humiliated by another. And for the most part, it is very much online. The bouncer one, again, if it depends, because I never know how these episodes are going to do, but sometimes it's Americans that will hit it. It's just to put it out there. No one's saying that to Bouncer's face. He's from my ends. No one. Try it. And it's probably similar with 6ix9ine. It's probably similar with Gunna. It probably happens few and far in between people say it to their face. But I don't want to call it cyberbullying, but the online vitriol is so loud that it can feel palpable, and that you can feel sometimes the underlying tension in rooms when people are not saying it. So I can imagine it being difficult, but the life of a snitch is not a good one. They're not protected by the police. And this is what I say when I speak about the police. Who are you even snitching to? Because you seem to be snitching to people that have more, who are going to potentially do more harm to you than the people that you're snitching against that have shown that they're going to do harm to you as well. Again, like I said, damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's articles that have said that from The Atlantic that show that people and the black community specifically are speaking less, and that's because trust in the law enforcement, trust in government has eroded even more. It hasn't got better. We've lost our trust in those establishments.
Tell me who stole my car. Nobody steal my car. I paid for my car.
But what would my niggas think of me if I snitch? Wait a minute, what niggas? Hey, I got niggas. Where? In the street. What streets?
I ain't asking no more. Come here.
I can't do it, Granddad. I can't talk to the popo. Tell Granddad. He's not the police.
That's right. You can tell me.
You promise not to tell?
I promise. I swear on your life.
You lying. That's messed up, Granddad.
Who is accountable?
People put so much of the focus on the snitches, and it ultimately takes away from them taking responsibility for their role in the situation.
Because the whole thing about people snitching is you're taking a risk that you know what's the capability is. Every day that I woke up in my past life and sold drugs, I was committing a felony every day. I took the risk of that. So if I get locked up, I know that in my mind, oh shit, damn, it's my fault. All right, bet.
But is it your fault or is it the person who snitched on you?
Oh no, I'm a blame snitch, of course.
But because although in some ways I'm kind of defending snitching, I'm questioning its logic. I'm questioning the very principle of it. But the police themselves don't snitch. The police themselves are a secret society. They're a community that is hard to get into. We don't fully understand how it works. It is a cult in my opinion, and they don't speak when they do wrong. So this code of Omerta, I believe, Omerta, forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, is across the board. So what I ask now of people is, the accountability starts with the character of the individual who says, this act is wrong and I'm not going to take it further. And we should judge people more on their individual context as opposed to this strict code. You die and live by a strict code, you will fall for anything, in my opinion. In my opinion, police don't do it, but we call for street people to do it. But when they do it, they're also ostracized. Make that make sense to me. Sammy the Bull, who you've seen rattled and littered throughout this video, himself says, I made sure 38 people went in, but I could have made 300 people go in. I did my best to ensure that people were given as fair as possible sentence as possible. And some of you may still say he was a snitch, but he was snitching on someone that was trying to kill him. Make that make sense to me.
Judge Gleason's remarks, and he said some of those people would have came out, they would have been doing murders for all these years. So in essence, what he said and did may have saved hundreds of murders. Now, I don't want credit for doing shit like that. I don't believe in it. But you could say whatever you want. What I will say is that, you know, I hear people talk about black people and say something negative or whatever. Or of course they live in a certain neighborhood or certain thing. And I say, you gotta live in a man's shoes. You can't put people down for what you think in your little basement with your little crappy ass computer. Live in those people's mind and other people's shoes before you open your fucking mouth. And what would you do if you were in my shoes and you were facing murders and getting set up? What the fuck would you do? Mr. Hero, Mr. Guy who turns around and badmouths other people who don't even know what the fuck planet you're on or what you're talking about with your little bitchy computer in a hole someplace and you want to pass a remark. Some people won't like I'm sitting here with you. Some people don't like I do my own show. I don't give a fuck about them.
But the police themselves still are not a society that can be trusted. They're not a community that are even helpful. So why are we not calling for, well, we do call for more accountability from the police, but I wish when we're having snitching conversations that was discussed more. The Little Dirk one, I saw a video by Trap Lil Ross. It is what it is. He said because Little Dirk is in for murder for hire, he was hurting his community.
If you're killing people and doing murders for hire, you're hurting the community way more than me chatting about it.
What about the people that were trying to kill his friends? What about the people that were after him? I'm not saying it's right, but also ask yourself this question. Chicago police, what are you doing? How do you end up with a murder rate that's at one point close to Iraq? The law enforcement's failure is so unbelievably high in this category. And when you look, it's black people. I often wonder, people are quick to call people a serial killer, a mass murderer, but we don't call the state genocide. Genocide by neglect. Why did I say it like that? I just did. But gross negligence, we don't call it that. And when you do, you're labeled as an extremist. You're labeled as someone who's like almost like a terrorist. We need to call for that just as much as we call out the no snitching culture. Because the no snitching culture hurts us. Our communities are destroyed. Our communities are the ones that are harmed the most. Our communities is the one that speak the least. We kind of create a self-perpetuating cycle where we don't trust police. So when we go to the police, we don't give the full information sometimes. That's one example. They themselves have an inherent distrust of us because we don't use them enough. And the cycle continues where we are treated the least. I don't know if going to them more would help, but I'm saying accountability on both sides will help because we are the ones that are affected the most. And it's important to say this, many studies have shown that vigilante justice helps no one. It actually helps perpetuate the state that put you in a place where you felt you need to take the power into your own hands. And history shows that holding societies and governments accountable is the answer. But please, when you are discussing this, anyone, Trap Lord does a great job. A lot of people that cover this more often and more regular than me do a fantastic job, but hold the state as equally as accountable for the failures of not just an individual, but groups of people. Chicago had a murder rate at one point akin to Iraq in a first world country. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And I'm not saying black on black crime, but we are the greatest and the longest lasting legacy of racism is the perpetual self-hate, self-competition between its own community in the black community. And that's how we end up destroying ourselves through psychological propaganda and warfare. We have been put into a state where we fear one another far more than the person who made us or the state that made us fear each other. A bit more accountability in that would help perpetuate a better narrative. This video ain't gonna change much, but hopefully people can see it a little bit different, even if it's one or two.
Yeah, well, now y'all get it right next time. You know the cost of bullets are going up.
Sure, you're right. Hey, thanks for being so cool about this, Pops. You all right with me?
Anyway, Granddad got his car back, and that was that.
Oh, come on. It was a misunderstanding. Hey, Ed, give your granddaddy my best. They did it. Cheers.
Don't you think?
There's no way.
Them ain't no Negroes. It couldn't be them.
What the fuck y'all looking at?
No charges were filed.
I think my closing conclusion, I don't know what I want to say, but my closing point is understand that accountability works. It's not a dagger or a gun that you point at someone. It is an energy flow that goes around a whole room that allows people to see how their own individual actions affect other people. Governments, some people will say the government do this on purpose. I'm trying to give them the benefit and the doubt and say you have been so co-opted by your pedestal and privilege that you don't even realize that your negligence is grossly destroying people. But that has helped perpetuate this cycle. But because people don't take their self-determination a bit more serious, there's a lack of self-esteem in migrant black communities, that people feel like doing the black market trade, the gang life is their only way out. And maybe a more accountability from self would help change that narrative. So accountability is something that happens all the way around how we discuss these things. Because let me keep it real with you. I could come on a hood mentality, It's very easy for me to do that. That wouldn't even be difficult. I could sit here and say, I don't believe in snitching. I've never snitched. I've been put in some half scenarios and I didn't fold. Some people folded on me. Sorry, it is what it is. I got the letters to prove it. But, and I'm not trying to make it out like I'm some, but I know what I'm getting at. But I'm aware that actions have a reaction. And sometimes, yes, telling on someone just to protect yourself isn't loyal. But sometimes when you look into these cases, it's never quite cut and dry like that. And I ask people to look at accountability as a full spectrum thing, as something that transfers through the room, as opposed to individually pointing at, and understand that the no snitching culture, what it actually ends up doing is keeping us in a perpetual state of what we think is keeping it to the streets, but killing ourselves in the street and allowing government to run amok and kind of evade their own accountability and evade their own help. And one thing I'll say, because Keir Starmer, Donald Trump think just adding more police, militarizing the police is going to help. No, it's improving the communities. It's not just building homes that are far too expensive for the people that live there. It's really looking into what these communities need, not just opportunities, better schooling, empowerment, youth centers, things of that nature is what will bring it out and improve those communities more. And some people may disagree, but until you try it, what you're doing right now is failing, and it's going to continue failing. But with that, I give you my due. Okay, I give you my due. I hope I covered this as best as I can. I'm not someone that is regularly going to do this kind of content about street stuff. I think it's a bit too chatty for me. What I do is chat, but I don't like doing it too much. I've got my own codes of ethics. I don't really like doing it too much. So, but if you do enjoy it, I will do more. Maybe even more mafia stuff. Maybe something like that. But put into the comments what you want to see me talk about. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also, hold on. What is underneath my nose? I'm out.
Someone stole my bike.
Yo, Riley! Spin it, baby!
Eddie Rummy just stole my bike. Man, niggas I can't stand it. Stole my damn bike. Hey, come back. We be back. Wow.
What's that, boy?
Nothing.
Where's your bike? I hope you got some insurance on those spinners. Whee! Thank you for not